cross into the next
Calories.
little realm I want
Yep.
to talk to about is, which is sugars too,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you got processed plants, which the more you process a plant, the more you make it less good for yourself,
Right.
for the most part, right?
Right. Exactly.
And talk to me about, okay, here's one thing I found out. And I didn't know it, but I have found out that from most of the heart guys I talk to, all these when we're talking to some of the top cardiologists in the nation that work for Mission, they do, they're great.
Yeah.
I have found out that sugar is the enemy.
Yes. Yes.
How, and I've not really, I mean, they'll talk about it, but why is that so?
Yeah. Well, gosh, where to start? It's everywhere, for one thing. Sugar is everywhere. Sugar's in so many recipes that I read. They asked me to do, I won't name who they are,
Right,
but,
I got you.
but I was asked to edit an article about healthy eating in one of the local papers, and it was about diabetes awareness, and it was getting behind it with, here, try this recipe. And in the recipe it said, add sugar. And I'm like, no, you don't need to add sugar. That's exactly against what we're talking about. But, my mama's home cooking, my granny's home cooking, there's a lot of sugar, But sugar, it used to be back in the 50s and 60s when everybody was smoking and drinking and eating steak, and then everyone had got heart disease, right?
Yeah. And people died when they're 58 or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So the big turnaround was, oh gosh, we got to turn that down. We got to make everything low fat, low fat, low fat. Well, what low fat? You can have low fat, but a lot of times that turns into high carb, high sugar.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where we're at now. And that's, I think, and there's a lot of stuff written about it, that's related to diabetes and why a third of, really, that's creepy and scary, but a third of our nation either has high blood sugar, higher than normal, or pre-diabetes or full-on diabetes.
Yeah. Well, now, so I'm not going to get into that today, but I would like for maybe our next time we sit down, we start talking about diabetes and why it's so bad. It's in my family. I will say this. I was 381 pounds was the heaviest I ever got, so I was huge.
Yeah.
And, a big guy, I'm 6'2", but 380, holy cow. And they told me I was pre-diabetic. Two things they told me, that they were the doctors at the time, not what you weren't in the mix then, but, okay, Tony, you're just a fraction away from you're going to start having to take diabetes medicines.
Right.
At that point, I was having to take Prilosec because I had acid reflux. I took a Prilosec every night. I was borderline diabetic, or I was what they call pre-diabetic. If you go too much farther, you're going to be diabetic. I was, my heart rate was high. Surprisingly, I guess because I was active enough, I did enough yard work, I did enough exercise, and go to the gym, walk the dogs and stuff like that, that my cholesterol and my, everything wasn't so bad. My blood pressure was pretty good and all that.
Yeah.
But I got real about it. And I lost initially about 50 pounds. I got down to about 330.
Right.
All of a sudden, I didn't have to take the Prilosec.
Right.
It's like I lost all the heartburn. I started eating good things. I cut a lot of fats, a lot of greasy foods, a lot of fast foods out of my diet. No, I go back and my blood sugar was in line.
Right.
Here I was 330. Now I weigh 300 pounds, 302, something like that. But now I go and I get these pristine, awesome health reports, except for the fact that I'm heavy.
Right.
That they still, this whole BMI thing, they don't want to see a guy, it doesn't matter if you're solid muscle or not, they consider you fat if your BMI is out of whack, right?
Right.
So every pro football player who is 6 foot and 240 pounds and can run a 4.40 is obese,
right?
Which I think is wrong.
Right.
They're muscled up, they're big, stout, huge guys, but the reason I'm saying this is the whole diabetes thing is something I do want to at one point talk about, and how weight affects that, how the sugars affect that, how the carbohydrate ratios and all there. But I realize that's too big a hole for us to go down today.
Yeah.
But
well, the line's blurred because they're all tied together. Obesity, hypercholesterolemia, high blood sugar, diabetes. I mean, they're all
heart disease. They're
all linked together.
That's the thing I'm finding out is that diabetes has a ton to do with how your heart works, right?
A ton. The vast majority of people that have heart attacks or strokes have diabetes.
So what we're going to do, Tom and I, we're going to get more in depth over the months, if he's willing to do this, and if people care to see it, but I think they will. But the thing we're going to start talking about is we're going to pick apart the health issues that are ruining healthcare in America and that are killing us.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do it in some sterile way. We're going to do it sitting out here on the porch with the birds chirping and planes going by, and whatever else goes on in the neighborhood. And we're just going to talk like a couple of real guys about these issues.
Yeah.
And what you do. But the short takeaway today that we can say is consider eating more plants.
Yeah. Yes.
And the less processed, the better.
Right. Right. So just, apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real. So, eat a couple of apples a day, drink a bunch of water, eat a salad.
Yeah.
Just do that. That's a good start.
A good start. Instead of going for a loaf of bread,
Right.
look for alternatives. I would imagine whole grain rice or something's better than eating a loaf of bread or a bunch of bread, right? If you
Right.
get,
Well, so whole grain bread's pretty good.
Yeah.
Has a lot of fiber in it. But white bread is sort of what you mentioned before, really, really processed, and there's there's almost zero fiber.
it's going to turn to sugar when it hits your
It's
blood.
sugar. It's almost completely refined sugar.
It's carbohydrates, which will turn into sugars in your blood
Yeah.
and cause your blood to sway one way or the other.
Yep.
The only thing we talked about eating today, and I don't want to go away from this before, but let's say, Tom, a person basically have a desk job or they work in a factory and they stand in one place or walking 30, 40 minutes a day. How does that change things too?
So you got to have activity, and so this goes back to my training and my philosophy is that just as much as we think of exercise as, the media portrays it as if you exercise, you get ripped and shredded. And that's not necessarily the case. You don't get ripped and shredded unless you really get serious about your diet. And I think me and you both know that as sort of big fellas that have been athletic in some capacity. Walking is perfect, but I guess from my perspective, walking is even more important in just motion. The motion of your joints, the flexibility of your muscles, being able to move your body.
So it's not just cardiovascular, it is complete maintenance for your body.
Functionality. We only have one of these for as long as we have it, hopefully 70, 80, 90 years. And you got to take care of it. You got to do what it takes. You got to maintenance it, just like your car. If you don't maintenance your car, you have problems. You got to maintenance your body, and that maintenance is exercise. But as far as burning calories, what a lot of people overestimate is the benefit of exercise in terms of weight loss. So to lose 1 pound of fat, to burn 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories.
3,500 calories.
So most of us, operate on a 2,000 to 2,500 calorie per day diet. That's sort of the recommendation. Most of us eat more than that. But
we would zero out, most of us, if we ate 2,500 calories a day.
Correct.
In other words, we wouldn't gain, wouldn't lose, stay about the same.
So our metabolic needs, the energy needs for us just to do what we do, walk around.
For our heart to beat, for our hair to grow, for our for us to respirate.
It's about 2,500 calories. Yep. No, that's for a guy our sizes.
Yeah.
Lesser for
for
women and children.
Smaller people.
Yep. So 3,500 calories it takes to burn a pound. So if you think about that, how many calories you burn when you exercise?
Yeah, I can spend an hour on an elliptical trainer.
Right.
And I punch the figures in there, and in an hour on I'm talking about going butt kicking
Getting
hard,
after it.
about 800 calories.
Yeah.
So you do. We overestimate how the effectiveness of it.
And so I'm totally with Tony here because I did it last night. So I did about 650 on a 650 calories on a bicycle, and there's a puddle of water underneath me. I mean, you have to.
You think you're
you got to work
man,
hard.
I'm losing weight. No.
But so if that's 650 or 800 calories, you'd have to do that for 3 hours.
I know.
You have to do that for 3 hours. Right. The flip side of that is if you eat 2,500 calories a day, and you cut out 500 a day, 500 times 7 is 3,500. So if you cut out 500 a day, you've lost a pound a week. So
the truth of the matter is, when people say, because the cardiologists, let's say, exercise moderately, and they say, get out, and what I'm basically hearing now, depending on who you talk to, is 30 minutes at least 5 days a week, or if you can do it 7 days a week, or, and certain ones will say, it takes really about 50 minutes. of moderate, walking about 40 to 50 minutes. So there's varying ranges there that different people will say. But the key is do something you can do to exercise and be steady with it. Walking is a good option because pretty much everybody can find a place to walk.
Right.
Hopefully you find a parking lot that's safe, or a park or some kind of something. I go down to Valdez and we walk. You and I walk to town one day.
Yeah.
It's a tough little walk.
Yeah.
Cool. So exercise is key, but that's more. It's key more for just overall body maintenance,
Right.
joints, overall fitness, staying vital. I
Right.
would say.
Right.
But for weight loss, eating is the key, right?
Eating is the key, yeah. Because I used to think, I kind of grew up this way with you. Man, you're a big strapping young lad. You know, you're working hard on the farm. You're pitching hay bales. You know, you're on the track team, so you can eat whatever you want. Not true. You know, not for me, because I gain weight if I eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because I like to eat. So you know, you can't out-exercise a bad diet.
Okay.
I heard that quote, and I really like it a lot.
Awesome.
You
man.
cannot out-exercise a bad diet.
Brother, I don't want to take up any more of your time than this. And if you're game, we're going to produce this little video.
Yeah.
And so folks who are watching this, chime in. Do you want to see more of this? Do you want to see this more plain talk with a doctor about health? And so if so, then give me a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you liked about it. And we'll give you more as long as Tom's game for doing this.
Yeah.
Are you cool?
I'm cool. Tony's still got that thorn that I pulled out of his foot that big.
Hey, peace to all who watch. Subscribe to the channel if you like. Thanks.